Hi everyone, this is Julia Malloy, business expert for the design industry. I hope you're doing well. Today is, you guessed it, day number 5 of our Get Organized program for February 2018. And next on our list is the admin expediter, office manager slash expediter role. Yesterday we talked about your CEO role, and I hope you had a chance to download that and kind of read through your job task list. It's pretty lengthy, and I wanted to go next into the next key role for you. The first 3 hires, the 4 base, you and 3 hires, by the way, are the most important. Those are kind of the legs of your base of your company, and they are the most important hires you will make. So obviously you've hired yourself as the CEO, and next is building your team for those of you who are in the process of building a small boutique model firm. And there's many of you out there I know that already have a company, a well-established firm. And this is your opportunity to look at the roles that you have established. A lot of times those task lists and kind of silos of accountability are a little fuzzy, and which is natural, by the way. When you're first starting out, it's totally natural. It's healthy, really. All hands on deck. Everyone's working toward a mission together for a common purpose. It's a good thing, but that kind of lack of role structure will get you kind of out the gate, but it will not get you to the next level. So sometimes, even if you have an established team, it's good to look at who's doing what, find their strengths, focus on those, and hopefully those align well with one particular role that you can, sometimes you need to nudge a little bit and develop that structure a little bit more. So for those of you who are building your team from scratch or realigning your team, I generally recommend having the admin expediter as the next person that you kind of bring on for those of you who are starting from scratch, okay? Or having to realign and rehire. The reason why I generally recommend that for firms that are doing full service, that are doing expediting, doing procurement, and have a decent amount of it. This is generally the best next hire, even if it is part-time. By the way, this goes for all roles. I recommend part-time being Monday through Thursday, 9 to 3. It is a perfect schedule for a mom that has maybe a very significant background in business, but is not in a position, nor does she want to hit the workforce full-time, because she does want to be able to attend to her family as well. Perfect match for those of you who have a part-time need and can find a mom. They generally are great at multitasking, and if they have a high level of reliability, which will be a factor, then you generally find your best hires that way. Okay, so moving on to building your team, I recommend that admin expediter as being your next team member, because you can get an intern to help you with the little things with your sourcing and things like that, organizing the library. I generally don't love interns most of the time because there's very little ROI by the time they are actually doing, there is an ROI, it's like time for them to leave a lot of times, but that's not a rule of thumb. Sometimes you get some great interns that you are able to bring on as a junior designer. But in terms of a hire, I want you to think in terms of keeping yourself on billable time, and the role associated with the admin or office manager slash expediter, generally speaking, a lot of that stuff is not your strength set, and it's not billable at a high rate, certainly, if at all. So I have created, I'm releasing to you all something I created actually quite a while ago, and it is part of the business blueprint that is kind of all the documents, all the roles, responsibilities, contracts, procedures, like HR stuff. It's all kind of business in a box. And I have been bringing these things out of my business blueprint and sharing them with you to get you along on your organizational journey. Okay, and so this is the Office Manager Expediter description of duties, and it's pretty extensive. Now I put in. You can go to my shop and download it for free. Okay, so juliamalloy.com /shop, or just go find the little shop on the top menu. You will find it as day 5 of Get Organized, and it is the description of duties, and it's broken down by category. I put in the most extensive version of this because I figured it's a lot easier to take away tasks and edit this down than it is to add on. Okay, so this is the full-blown version of what this role could be. But basically, they are the manager. They kind of take care of all of those things in your office that are timekeeping and money in and money out and organizing and filing and helping you with documents and helping you with your schedule, helping you with your travel. And then they are the person that is taking care of all of your expediting. Post-purchase order creation. So I want the design team to be responsible for the purchase order, and then after that they pass it on to the expediter, and they place the order, call in the credit card, get the acknowledgement, track it in Studio Designer, Studio Webware, or whatever software you're in, and manage that acquiring of the goods, that procurement through to, yes, it's in the warehouse, it arrived on Friday, here's the report, Monday morning team sync meeting kind of thing. And so the design team focuses on their strength, which is the pre-purchase order phase, the concept and specifications and client interaction and that kind of thing. And then just getting that order and following up with the 20 phone calls that takes half the time. That's what the admin expediter does. And I know a lot of you are having a junior do it. And, sometimes that works. Generally speaking, there's about 3% of the population that are very good left brain, right brain. So that works because it's the same kind of personality. But most of the time, the person that is going to be an outstanding junior designer, because they're super creative and forward thinking, and they're really getting your aesthetic and able to source really quickly and those kinds of things. Generally speaking, they either not as good at kind of a linear timekeeping modality, calling and following up in the little nitty gritty, or it's just not as gratifying. So it's good for temporary, but I don't find that to be the most sustainable model out there. The person that is going to make a good admin is the same person, the same personality, the same character strengths as it makes a great expediter. They need to be great on the phone. They need to be relationship builders. They need to have a high level of personal stability, be methodical, multitasking, great multitasking abilities. Everyone says they are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. So, great communicators, and they have to have a certain amount of emotional intelligence and maturity, which you often don't get in the young junior interior designers. They need to be able to build relationships with the vendors and be able to push them when they need to push them, and still be likable. So it requires a certain amount of gravitas to that personality. And again, great on the phone, great with prospective clients calling in, great with you, knows how to manage upward. So a lot of character traits go into that. I don't get into all of that in this. I just list the the description of duties. In my business blueprint, I go into interview questions and character traits you're looking for. But let's just get started with the junior designer, the office manager expediter duties. Technically, it's 2 roles. I'm splitting it and combining it like a hybrid role for those of you who have small firms. For when you have enough procurement work, then that's when you think about splitting it out and having your admin expediter train a dedicated expediter or product procurement specialist, whatever you want to call them. Okay, but when you're just starting out, you make that a hybrid role that is much more sustainable than having your junior do it, and it makes you more money because your junior can be billing out at a higher rate. By the way, one more point before I finish up with this little tutorial. The admin expediter, if you are billing for expediting time, which I do recommend, at a lower rate, like between $50 and $65 an hour or something like that, depending on where you are in the country and the tier of client you're working with. This hire should be net zero, meaning they pay for themselves. They don't necessarily make you a lot of money, and that will vary a little bit depending on how much procurement you have going on in the office at the moment. So it'll vary month to month. But generally speaking, this hire helps free up your time so you can bill out at least 5 more hours a week at your billable rate, which kind of puts you in the black. It gets you ahead of the game. And then you've got their salary, but then you add in the fact that they're able to bill. Usually it's about 30% of their time in expediting, and most of the time this ends up being a net zero, meaning it doesn't cost you anything and it doesn't make you anything, but man, it keeps you sane, and it really facilitates your whole office. I think it's really the most pivotal role for an office, small, like 2-person team. You need this person. Okay, so that's what I have to say to that role, and I just encourage you to take advantage of our fabulous February Get Organized program, and go to my website and go ahead and download for free this month only the Office Manager Expediter description of duties. It will look like this, and you can see it's number 5 in our 20-day Get Organized program. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow. Till next time, be bold.